Holy shit, that's the most annoying voice I have heard in years! The cycle lolly from a few seasons ago was also annoying, but at least it had the excuse of being a vicious megalomaniac salaryman reincarnated as a yandere lolly who kills people so he can avenge God. He, on the other hand, gives you nothing to excuse this fucking annoying voice. He's also a boy trying to have sex with a nun. Is this supposed to be funny? Can anyone laugh with this pedophilic anti-Christian deviance? When Naruto vandalized the monument in the first episode, it was a horrible thing he did as part of his rebellion. He had an agenda which resonated with a lot of kids who wanted to be noticed. What's his agenda? He has none. He's a horny boy trying to seduce a nun of all people. And when he fails, he openly tries to rape her. What kind of children can relate to this pedophilic anti-Christian shit? And look at that, he doesn't have superpowers in a setting where everybody has superpowers. Just like the protagonist of My Hero Academia. Only that one was presented as a bullet crybaby who was relatable for many because he really wanted to become a hero. This jackass, on the other hand, is acting like a rapist villain from a light novel. The show itself points that out. But let's try to be positive for once. Maybe he will try to improve his physical skills instead of relying on magic. This way he can become the Batman Deku should have been all along. Not! He just wants to get magic like everybody else, as if that is the only possible option. By the way, his base is a huge fucking skull. What more of an excuse do you need of him being a light novel villain? So he goes to a fucking high school because we clearly didn't have enough of those yet. And the whole thing looks like Hogwarts because innovation is a concept unknown to Black Clover. So he's told he cannot use magic, therefore he cannot have a magic book because life ain't fair, kiddo. You will just have to deal with the fact you will never become the king of whatever. And then out of nowhere he gets the ultimate power with no explanation other than this being a garbage tier shonen who gives special privileges to one-dimensional light novel rapists. Awful, plain unwatchable. I can't imagine a single person hyping this atrocity.
I've been waiting so long for this, and already a lot of people are saying that this may be one of the potential shows of the year. I've had an absolute blast with the show. They want to push this show and they want to push the series as hard as possible. It looks really nice, and it was trying to be like a cut above the rest. Academia does it in a very clever way, like Black Clover in where I think it just does it in the like entertaining way, and it has just a very enjoyable cast of characters.
Black Clover is so bad, the second episode deserves a video of its own. First of all, it's supposed to be continuing a cliffhanger, which has no purpose of being there. You use cliffhangers right before a major event and not in the middle of nowhere. The protagonist getting a broken power is the most generic element of shonen, and his first opponent is instantly defeated. Thus, there was nothing to excuse the pilot episode stopping in the middle of nowhere. Who the fuck wrote the storyboard? The second issue is the flashback of the second episode. You use flashbacks to give your characters a backdrop story, a tragic past, so they can be more appealing to the audience. This flashback did no such thing. We got nothing new to make them more interesting. No new characters, no new areas, no tragic event to somehow victimize them. In fact, it was a complete rehash of the plot of the first episode. Two orphans in a church fending off a villain. Why was it even there? Who the fuck wrote the script? The third issue is the pacing, which is horrendously slow. 5 minutes of recap, followed by 3 lines of plot. This is something you do after 50 episodes, not right away. The initial part of any story is supposed to have fast developments in order to hook the audience. Instead of this terrible post-time skip One Piece type of pacing, you're making your potential audience to lose interest right away. The fourth issue is the depth of the villains. Or better say, the complete lack of it, since they're just one-dimensional evil rapists from light novels. In shonen, the first villain is always a fodder for the hero to show off how powerful he is. But even fodders have more dignity than this malarkey. Last time I checked, Black Clover is not a light novel and doesn't need to be complete self-indulgent garbage that self-validate a completely jerk protagonist. And yet look at this! The protagonist is such a creep that the only way for him to seem heroic is by facing light novel rapists! The fifth issue is the rivalry between the protagonist and his best friend. Every shonen has a rival, someone far more charismatic than the hero who constantly ridicules him, so he will be motivated to surpass him. In this shonen, there is no reason for the rivalry to exist. They are best friends with nothing to make them antagonize each other. The idiot mangaka uses the trope without knowing how it works. So as you can see, this is a terrible shonen and I have no idea how anyone can consider it good. Or even close to Naruto or any other classic shonen.
I like Black Clover. I think episode 1 was fine. It reminds me of why I like shonen manga, Naruto meets Fairy Tail. If you like both of them, you're probably going to absolutely love and adore Black Clover.
Since the first episode as the first episode, in this episode, throughout this episode, this episode, the episode,
Somebody put their hands around that little motherfucker's neck so he can stop talking.
Jokes aside though, Black Clover is a good series.
The episode begins with not Ninetales attacking not Konoha. I might as well be rewatching Naruto. It is defeated by not Soul King, who then forms the not Shinigami divisions. I might as well be rewatching Bleach. We move to not Guts training with a huge sword. I might as well be rewatching Berserk. Before he and his not rival take part in the not Hunter exam, so he can become the not Pirate King. Why am I not rewatching any of those better older shows? All of which happen while repeating the exact same joke about raping nuns 4 times in every episode, which is totally not making it obnoxious. And having pedophilic old men lusting over young boys? What kind of people would enjoy this horse shit?
This is probably one of the most interesting series in the fall season, putting this into my top 5 hypest anime series. It embodies everything that makes traditional shonen so good, wrapped in a skin that's fresh, while also feeling very familiar.
Everything is beautiful in its own way.
In the 4th episode, the tournament arc begins and everyone shows what he can do. The first test is about trying to imitate Harry Potter, in which the Naruto imitator fails completely. His not really rival, on the other hand, does great, and that is supposed to make us yearn for the protagonist to beat him. Only we won't because A, they are not rivals, and B, wannabe Luffy already saved wannabe Sasuke twice already, and is thus clearly better than him. The tests continue where the not Goku comes last in every single one of them. I guess he will fail the entry exam because he's a complete loser. There is someone who constantly helps him out. I guess he's a nice guy who will succeed because he's so polite and smart. And then the last test comes where they have to duel and it's revealed he's just another one-dimensional light novel villain. It's subversion. Also, not Ichigo takes out his not Zanpakuto and defeats the villain with one hit. You didn't see that coming. This is the part we're supposed to be amazed with these great plot twists. And we probably would if they weren't used in every shonen since Kenshiro-sama was a thing. Thus, once again, the only thing that sets Black Clover apart from any other shonen is the non-raping protagonist. And I can't believe there would be a single sane person to say good things about it.
Black Clover really is already a mega hit and on its way to becoming one of the pillars of Jump. Black Clover has been dominating. Everyone's talking about it. Season 1 of My Hero Academia didn't really get that much hype. New king of shonen anime is here. 51 episodes. Freaking insane. The new age of shonen anime is here. This could be the new Naruto and Bleach.
The 5th episode goes Naruto as not Sasuke is fighting against someone who says it doesn't matter how talented you are if you're a noble with lots of money. And obviously, unlike the somewhat serious approach in Naruto, Black Clover does its best to let us know this is evil by making the opponent being yet another one-dimensional light novel rapist. Theme exploration? Nobody likes that shit. Also, exciting battles are not needed since apparently all we want to see is not Sasuke totally owning the bad guy in one hit and making the man-children watching this to cheer from joy for the obviously evil bad guy getting obviously defeated for being so full of himself. The message of the show is clear. You cannot win by constantly bragging about your abilities. Then we get another Naruto ripoff moment, where everybody wants not Sasuke in his team, and nobody wants not Boruto's dad for being completely worthless yet constantly bragging about himself. But then the writer remembers this is supposed to be empowerment fantasy for spoiled millennials. So the completely worthless protagonist is chosen by someone for being so full of himself, thus contradicting what was mentioned just a few minutes ago. The show tries to excuse it by making it sound as if everybody deserves a second chance if he doesn't give up, such as the evil rapist from the previous episode, who tries to make a comeback because he doesn't accept being worthless next to not Boruto's dad. But then not Sasuke appears and reminds him he's not the main character, therefore he doesn't deserve a comeback. Only the protagonist is allowed to win even when he loses, and everybody else is a complete fodder. On the positive side, there were no raping nun jokes. They got replaced with shit jokes, where they talk about how big was the turd that came out of their ass. Thus, once again it is proven how this show is deliberately made in such a way so nobody will like it.
I really enjoyed this episode of Black Clover. I thought it was amazing. Yami became instantly my favorite character alongside Asta.
Stockholm Syndrome. That's what the tabloids would have you call it. Me? I call it audience retention. How much you could psychologically manipulate them to the point where no matter what you do to them, no matter how much you exploit them, they start to like it.
I don't know why I said it was a cool thing at the start. It's just a regular thing that most shows do.
Do you have a voice that sounds like 1,000 corpses screaming as they burn in the fires of hell? You do that after they've grown to love you. After they want more.
The 5th episode of Black Clover in general was just amazing. Black Clover greatness, fuck the haters.
You need to shut the fuck up!
In this episode, we are introduced to the support characters, which consist of a Nazi emo gaylord, a drunken slut, a pedo siscon, and whatever the hell that thing is supposed to be, all of which are there to make the non-raping protagonist seem normal by comparison. I understand that shonen are supposed to have eccentric characters because it's cool in the eyes of the mature target demographic, but this is beyond pathetic. The support cast of Naruto was eccentric, but it was never treated as a fetish that had nothing to do with their powers. These are freaks you'll find only in light novels and porn games. It's deviance promoted as something you're supposed to cheer for.
Oh, it was so good. Mwah, mwah, wow, perfect. This is actually quality. God, I'm so happy that the series is going so well. I'm very upset about the hate this is getting. I mean, yes, the story is not original. It's a shonen. Every shonen is the same. It's all the same. It's just the characters are different. That's all. But that's why we love it.
How did the standards drop so low, and yet you're all acting as if it was always the same? You don't care, you filthy shonen tards, that's how. They realized you eat anything they serve you, thus they keep lowering the bar more and more, and you love it regardless. Well done, shonen tards. Well done.
At this point, if you don't like Black Clover, you suck.
Black Clover is like a porn game. It's about a generic MC fighting one-dimensional evil rapists and helping out girls with their emotional issues before adding them to his harem. The episode ends with them promising to be a team who will always help out each other. Something they forget by the next episode, when one of them refuses to join the mission, so he can open a portal to their base and call for reinforcements in case something goes wrong. He abandons his nakama and goes to seduce girls, just like everyone does in porn games. Thus our heroes have to fly all the way there while grabbing each other's boobs and dicks, which of course is presented as a joke just like it does in porn games. Once they get to their mission, they conveniently happen to be there at the same time as one-dimensional evil rapists who treat innocent women and children as trash and kill them by the hundreds. Our protagonist activates his protection syndrome, like the generic shonen hero he is, and deflects magic attacks with no plan or strategy, since nobody cares about that in Black Clover. They just wanna see a one-dimensional hero steamrolling one-dimensional bad guys. And just about when the bad guys are about to kill the innocents, the harem girl gets protection syndrome as well, which magically gives her a new power-up, so we will know nothing bad will ever happen in the show without being instantly negated with magic bullshit, thus proving once again how horrible Black Clover is, and why no person with taste likes it.
Seriously, this week's episode was awesome. Can't wait to see next week's episode.
Many call these episodes a rehash of the first Naruto arc, and some even consider it to be equal. Allow me to prove how Naruto was 1,000 times better and Naruto was shit. Although Naruto was a generic shonen protagonist who never gives up because he wants to protect his friends or some bullshit, the power of friendship was never an issue in the first arc. On the other hand, it was always a cop-out in Fairy Tail. Therefore, Black Clover is equal to that piece of shit. The protagonist is demolished several times but never loses because more friends and all that crap. The villain in Naruto had a tragic side. You felt a bit sorry for him when he died. The same can't be said about this villain, who is just another throwaway one-dimensional evil rapist. When the good guys won in Naruto, it didn't feel like a cheerful victory. The hero was devastated for what he did. In Black Clover, oh, we won, it's so amazing, this chick will suck my dick. In Naruto, you were giving the impression that training hard will make you strong, but you will also have to use that power to kill many others in order to protect the village. In Black Clover, it was a generic, you can be anything you want if you train hard, and you will be a hero who beats all the bad guys. Also, there was no MacGuffin in the early Naruto. The bad guys were not looking for some trinket in order to release some ancient evil. Even when they eventually did, it was people, not objects, which don't mean anything. Yet look at this, a generic MacGuffin with absolutely no emotional connection to the heroes. Furthermore, they didn't even find the MacGuffin on their own. They didn't even know it existed. A bird came out of nowhere and handed it over to them. How lazy is that? A fucking bird out of nowhere finds it and gives it to them. They are not even trying. This show is nowhere close to Naruto, and it's impossible for someone to like it.
I get really excited to watch Black Clover. Black Clover is a nice feeling in general compared to pretty much any other series. It makes you want to watch what happens next week. There's some problems here and there, but I want to understand more about the magic and about the rules and all that stuff.
I want to see some damn
Black Clover magic.
God damn it.
A quarter of episode 11 is wasted on the characters insulting each other while saying they have no idea who was behind the attack on the village. So it's basically 8 minutes of complete nothingness, and that is enough for Crunchyroll to call it the best shonen anime adaptation.
That is facts.
Then another quarter is wasted on the characters repeating the exact same one joke that defines their personality, because that is the only thing the mangaka bothered to think of when he was creating them. And that is enough for Crunchyroll to say how amazingly good it's been so far.
That is facts.
Then another quarter is wasted on repeating the same joke of groping each other while flying. Because if a joke wasn't funny the first time, keep repeating it until it becomes funny. And that is enough for Crunchyroll to call it careful story pacing.
That is facts.
And the last quarter is wasted on them going to a black market where everyone is again making the same one joke based on the one thing that defines their personality. We might just be in a golden era for shonen, claims Crunchyroll.
That is facts.
Episode 12 is wasted on chasing a nobody thief. When they capture him, nothing changes and they leave without even getting a reward, so it was in effect filler. Black Clover is truly a standout, claims Crunchyroll.
That is facts.
And finally, episode 13 is wasted on the rival, who is not really a rival, being targeted by the butthurt one-dimensional rapist from before, only to be completely steamrolled without much effort, thus rendering this whole mission a waste of time once again, since there never was any actual threat and nothing came out of it. By the way, this was all anime original, which according to Crunchyroll, didn't just highlight the strengths of its source material, but also expanded upon them to create an even stronger story.
I want to see some damn
facts.
God damn it.
I'm bored. Decided I'm gonna watch some anime called Black Clover. Pretty good. Really, really good.
The first quarter of the episode is wasted once again on the characters bickering at each other by repeating for the millionth time the one and only trait that defines their entire personality.
The main characters are awesome. The main characters are these two orphan boys setting out to be the Wizard King, which is, like, I guess, the highest level of wizard or whatever.
Their leader appears and gives them a super serious mission that may destroy the world if they fail. He then proceeds to show how serious this cosmic level threat is by sending only 3 kids in the mission, while everyone else stays home and does absolutely nothing.
And whatever, and just so they can protect everyone, all that crap, which is a good thing to be, a good thing to have.
The 3 kids go to a dungeon that appeared out of nowhere and has an architecture that makes absolutely no sense, meaning the mangaka pulled stuff into the story instead of naturally weaving new events into the narrative because of earlier events, without bothering to have any consistency or logic in whatever the hell he's drawing.
The Wizard King is below the king, so, you know, the Wizard King is the king's, like, right hand man, and, I think it's pretty good.
The leader shows the importance of teamwork by abandoning his team to go fight strong people. That's the kind of heroes you send to protect the world from cosmic horrors.
Wants to protect everyone, wants to get strong and all that crap, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, pretty good.
And then the show turns into tentacle hentai, since that is what inspires modern anime creators.
And this anime has a lot of heavy magic in it, which in turn kind of reminds me of Fairy Tail, which I never really got into, but it's really great.
Hey, look, a girl is about to be eaten by a plant, just like in the 4th episode of Sword Art Online. Great tribute there, mate, you're making us feel proud. By the way, is it me, or does that plant look like a huge vagina that just came?
This Black Clover is pretty good. I'm going to continue watching. Like, I'm probably going to watch a few episodes today. Going out to New Haven today, so car ride to New Haven, I'll probably watch a few episodes.
And then the not rival appears out of nowhere and saves them, proving once again how they are plot armored beyond belief, how there are no tactics in the show, and how everything can happen if the author feels like it.
I'm probably the only person that has not been watching this series.
The first half of episode 15 is wasted on the characters once again bickering at each other by using the only gimmick that defines them. No need to Harry getting the artifact despite making it sound important.
Look at the art, it's amazing.
Not even the king thinks there is any urgency. He's told powerful enemies are going after it and he doesn't send any more men. A few spoiled kids are more than enough. Let the rest of the 100 elite fighters who are not doing anything all this time to keep doing nothing.
And a great character, he's very strong, look at him.
As for the second half of the episode, that is wasted on the friend who abandoned them, thus showing how much teamwork means to him, revealing to have the depth of a one-dimensional evil rapist. You didn't see that coming.
It's amazing.
Episode 16 is wasted on fighting the smoking guy by using teamwork, the thing that should have used from the very beginning. And even then, their powers work in whatever way suits the plot. That tsundere doesn't use the magic sphere she gained in the previous arc, and somehow she could throw the Naruto clone with precision when she has absolutely no control over her powers.
He has his big swords, anti-magic. Pretty much cool.
The next 3 episodes are wasted on fighting a diamond guy with a backdrop stolen from Zabuza in Naruto. Because fuck you, originality! He seemed undefeatable, but then the heroes use the power of plot armor. A fairy appears out of nowhere and saves them without explaining what the hell just happened. Tactics and teamwork, what's that?
I'm not losing to you, Asta. Bring it.
And then the arc ends with another girl joining Naruto clone's harem. I mean, what kind of a girl wouldn't fall in love with his deep character, his gentle manners, and his angelic voice?
This is going to seal the deal for a lot of people invested into Black Clover.
In the next arc of this thrilling series, the characters are bickering to each other by making fun of the single trait that defines them. Again, gotta waste that runtime somehow.
This series is really going to be the landmark.
Then the girls are super horny with Asta's complete lack of personality and angelic voice. It's almost like they are promoting blunt self-inserts as the pinnacle of storytelling or something.
It's very enjoyable. I'm having a good time.
Then the Wizard King, who looks very familiar for some reason,
kind of looks like Hokage Naruto,
praises them for their previous success. You know, that super serious mission where everybody was not going to the dungeon that can destroy the world despite knowing elite enemies were in there because a bunch of rookies were more than enough to handle the situation.
But it was still pretty cool.
Then various Shinigami captains are introduced and get a rank, so we will know how strong they are with a number and an elemental power instead of the depth of their personality.
A lot of people loved the first few episodes. It was reminiscent of Naruto, but put in this fairy tale-esque world with magic and stuff like that.
And what did you know? Their personalities being one-dimensional assholes who are victimizing those beneath them. It's almost like it's done so we will feel sorry for that stupid bimbo who forgot how to use her power-up in the previous battle.
Hopefully it stays the same.
This triggers the subconscious protection syndrome all generic shonen protagonists have. It doesn't matter if she deserves the ridiculing, which by the way she does since she is incompetent and thus not trustworthy. All it matters is that she's treated badly and needs to be protected. Like the average man-child who's watching this trash and is bullied at school for not having a spine. He needs to be shielded so he can forever stay a baby instead of growing a pair.
It's pretty damn good and it's enjoyable.
Anyways, this quarrel is interrupted by bad guys invading the city, so the Boruto clone abandons the chick he knows and goes to protect weak people he doesn't know of.
I've seen a lot of popularity of Black Clover recently.
And he's the only one who cares about those nobodies, as everybody else is protecting the king. This fat, worthless asshole who only cares about himself. Because he's an adult with authority in a crappy shonen, get it?
Honestly, he's just a really interesting character.
One of the bad guys reveals that he wants revenge for being unfairly kicked out of the Ninja Academy because his powers were very dangerous. He proceeds to show how right they were by invading the city. This guy is a genius!
Is it worth my time? It'll really pick up.
Then the bad guys use tactics. And by tactics, I mean magic that can have any effect you want it to have. In this case, they teleport the Shinigami captains away. But not the underdogs, since they are supposed to be easy to defeat. Which they aren't, since they easily defeat the bad guys with no tactics or effort.
It was to another level of like you're seeing the main cast struggling.
Then the bad guys use more tactics to teleport away and trap the protagonist with magic. Something which shouldn't work since he can cancel any form of magic. It's almost like they're making shit up as they go along.
I hope it keeps on being this exciting and interesting. I'm enjoying it.
And then Naruto's lost brother appears out of nowhere and easily defeats them with no tactics, so they just teleport once again. Which is another random thing, since if it was that easy for Naruto's lost brother to find them even after they teleport, what was he doing all this time? And why can't he sense where they went the second time? It's almost like this is all random bullshit.
The way he's acting for a magic emperor, do we really trust this guy?
And the arc ends with Boruto's Kagebushi no Jutsu getting a promotion. Which makes no sense because he didn't get it for saving the world in the previous arc, but rather for failing to use his anti-magic and getting captured in this one. It's almost like this is a terribly written series.
the atmosphere, the dangers, the secrets around it and everything.
Black Clover proves once again why it's inspired more by date simulations than fighting shonen. It spends a whole episode in the guys constantly trying to score with random chicks they find in a tavern, all of which are defined by a single trait.
Black Clover. I enjoy it for what it is.
And despite being cringy as fuck, the obnoxious protagonist is being stalked by that stupid tsundere while dressed as a maid. There is no fetish in any of this, I swear.
That is freaking awesome.
And obviously the show is trying to hide that by throwing in a one-dimensional evil rapist who is molesting the girls and is making fun of the protagonist, just so the dumb audience will completely forget what an awful character is Asta and wish this guy to get bitten for being even worse by comparison.
These people aren't playing around. They're not a joke.
And obviously he's easily beaten by the date sim protagonist and everyone is amazed and all the chicks fall in love with him for protecting them. Now you're free to fantasize about being an obnoxious idiot who beats bullies and slays all the pussy.
Really interesting.
At this point, every single female is in love with Asta, including 5-year-olds. But we shouldn't judge that because Japan is a very different place and that makes pedophilia fine. We should all accept that.
It's supposed to be a joke.
And we might as well add incest to the mix because only close-minded people don't want to fuck their own 5-year-old sister. Liberals for the win!
Quality of writing, even that's improved. And we're only in the 30s.
And once again the show is attempting to hide this deviance by throwing in yet another one-dimensional evil rapist who is kidnapping, torturing and killing little children for money! Now we can forget the lolicon hentai for a while and hope to see this guy getting defeated because he's evil!
He just seems like an interesting villain.
But first, we have to waste half the episode in the good guys bickering amongst them once again. Do you even know you could have stopped the abduction of those children if you weren't fighting each other over who gets to deflower that 5-year-old and instead we're doing your job? Our heroes, ladies and gentlemen.
The writing has picked up.
Anyways, they eventually find the villain and easily steamroll him like usual, but then the mangaka realized he had done that many times already, so in order to spice things up, he decided to abuse the fuck out of teleportation and power creep.
That was really awesome.
First, this mad bitch teleports in who is stronger than the first villain. Just like all females, she wants Asta's D.
Sally for the win, baby. Like, yo, insanity. I love characters like that.
When she also gets bitten, a she-male teleports in who is stronger than the crazy bitch.
I didn't expect to see that.
They can't defeat this one and the mangaka does not give them a lazy power-up for a change. Instead of that, he gives them a lazy last-moment save as the Shinigami Captain teleports in.
The fight that they had was incredible.
The Shinigami Captain can't defeat the she-male, but it's okay because the mangaka decides to give them a lazy power-up after all. Another guy teleports in with a new power and reflects the attack back at the she-male. That's how they defeat him, with the same depth as a typical Inuyasha fight.
Check out that Black Clover, baby. It's picked up a lot and it's freaking exciting. Yami vs. Lich was lit.
The mangaka doesn't know when to stop rehashing the exact same plot convenience and teleports in even more villains who are even stronger than the she-male.
Black Clover, freaking awesome.
And no, he doesn't stop, not even now, as he teleports in even more Shinigami Captains.
It was just absolutely incredible.
And then the she-male reveals she was holding back the whole time and is about to kill the good guys.
Now it's actually taking off like a rocket.
And then the mangaka got fed up of his own bullshit and had the bad guys retreating before killing the heroes. And of course they have to teleport away, since that is the laziest way to have any result you want, and the idiotic audience is not going to give a shit.
Black Clover is definitely starting to make its way through to becoming truly entertaining and exciting, and there's not even a quarter of the BS that goes on in Fairy Tail in Black Clover.
Thus ends another amazing arc with the females becoming tsundere once again, so everyone can remain a virgin forever. Let's see what the fans have to say about that.
Black Clover is equal with My Hero. Black Clover and My Hero, they have a lot of similarities, so if people like My Hero, they could possibly like Black Clover.
The episode begins by wasting a third on reminding us the harem that Asta has created and how this is supposed to make him a relatable character. And by relatable, I mean wish fulfillment for beta losers who want to get all the pussy by being stupid and obnoxious. Then another third is wasted on reminding us the one and only gimmick that defines the entire cast of the guild, since the anime assumes we are mentally challenged and we forget everything if it's not constantly repeated to us. And the last third is wasted on showing us the exact same thing with the Shinigami Captains, because nothing screams quality shonen than a show that wastes most of its episodes on generic harem stereotypes and one gimmick characters. But it's okay because the next episode is something completely different that we have never seen before in the show.
Never really seen done before.
We're given the worst traitor reveal in anime history, making Black Clover memorable for this thing alone.
We had not seen up until this point.
A traitor we know nothing about and thus means nothing to the audience.
There's a lot more we haven't seen yet.
The method of reveal being mind reading, which makes the revelation tensionless.
Which have never been seen before.
The exposition being so incompetent to the point everyone has to repeat what has been told to them for no reason.
It's like nothing we've ever seen before.
A second traitor existing in the same team that is somehow not instantly revealed when they can always read each other's minds.
And we haven't seen anything even close to that.
And the narrative being so garbage it literally has the traitor breaking the fourth wall and asking the audience who we think he is. That's how you subvert expectations.
Which we'd never seen before, and it still kind of is proving to be just that.
And this thrilling episode ends once again by reminding us the one gimmick that defines everyone in the guild, otherwise we'll forget it. And that's why Black Clover is the king of shonen anime. Next up is the obligatory bitch episode all harem anime must include in order to help the beta losers who are watching this trash to objectify the girls even further. What's that? Black Clover is a fighting shonen and not a harem? Well done, Tabata-sensei, you once again skillfully subverted our expectations. Then they meet a girl who wants to become a pop idol in a medieval fantasy setting. The realism of the show is amazing. She says she wants to become that in order to become rich and famous, which is also the actual reason so many girls want to become pop idols. What, did you really think they sing just to please the thirsty males who watch this trash? By the way, the show is not treating the theme seriously since there is no need for her to become rich and famous by singing. She has the power to heal people and she's already asking for money every time she's using it, thus there is no point in any of this nonsense. She can go heal a noble and instantly make 10 times more money than whatever she would make from performing on a stage for hours. And the show makes sure that we don't take anything that is going on seriously by ridiculing everything else as well. Such as the scene the guild members are motivating the tsundere so she can use her powers properly. Not only they do it once again by repeating the single gimmick that defines each one of them, but also do it while deliberately leaving behind one of their nakama, although he did nothing to deserve it. So no matter how much they try to make it seem like they're the best buddies who help each other out, they instantly contradict it by abandoning one of them for no reason. And then they constantly tease romance between the harem lead and the tsundere, which obviously never goes anywhere, because she reacts violently about it every single time, so there will never be any actual progress, and the beta male losers who watch this trash will never stop watching because their ship might sink. By the way, did you notice how the framing of the scene places the obnoxious harem lead in the middle and the tsundere to the left? If they wanted to give an equal importance to both of them, the middle of the picture would be the space between their heads. But they don't do it because they don't want you to care about the tsundere. It's all about making the obnoxious harem lead that gets all the pussy to be the center of attention. Get it? It's subversion. You didn't see it coming.
Subverting expectations in and of itself is an accomplishment. Regardless of how satisfying it is narratively. It might, make your entire movie fall on its face, but you subverted expectation.
Our heroes head for the temple that has been hyped up to be 100 times more dangerous than the dungeon that had artifacts capable of destroying the world. And when they get there, surprise! Everyone is friendly, nothing is dangerous, and there is a Muten Roshi clone who molests the girls. Your expectations are now subverted.
You didn't see that coming!
Then our heroes are fighting the strongest warriors of the place that is hyped up to be 100 times more powerful than the artifacts that can destroy the world. And surprise! They defeat them easily. You didn't see that coming.
It's subversion!
And just about when you expect to see a nice fight at the end with the strongest warrior, surprise! It is stopped by the villain jumping in out of nowhere. It subverted your expectations.
That man is a genius.
By the way, they never explained what he was waiting for to attack all this time. The heroes needed a week just to pass the barrier, while he can burst through in a second. Also, he has a spy amongst the Shinigami captains, therefore he knew where the MacGuffin is for a whole week. And since he considers himself to be the strongest of the wizards, there is no excuse for why he didn't go there for a whole week. Therefore, it was done just to subvert your expectations.
You didn't see that coming!
The heroes have to fight this villain without the aid of their Shinigami captain. The reason is because of magic. The moment he tries to go help them, surprise! The Muten Roshi clone creates a barrier that traps him inside. But then the captain, surprise, breaks it with brute force. But then there is another villain outside who, surprise, creates a second barrier that still keeps him trapped.
It's subversion!
And then Gray shows his real form. Instead of an ugly man, surprise! In reality, he's a cute girl.
That man is a genius.
And then the heroes use teamwork so they can create superb tactics to defeat the villain. But what did you know? Surprise! The unstoppable power of friendship fails to stop the villain.
You didn't see that coming.
But then, surprise! The captain appears and saves the day. How did he escape the barrier? By breaking it as well, although you were told it's unbreakable, just like the previous one was.
It's subversion!
And what strategy does he use to stop the villain, although he was clearly unable to defeat him in the previous time they fought? Surprise! He doesn't use any tactics, he just fires an energy beam that is more powerful than the bad guy's energy beam. You expected something more elaborate because he's not as strong, didn't you? Take that, you fools! He subverted your expectations!
That man is a genius.
And then the typical tsundere also subverts your expectations by still being a typical tsundere. You expected her to do something different just like everyone else, didn't you? Well, surprise! She subverted your subversions by having no surprise! And that's why Black Clover is the king of shonen anime.
Black Clover! I was like, It was just like,
Half the episode is wasted on the characters doing their single gimmick joke. Who knows, maybe this time we will find it funny, unlike the previous million times that wasted a quarter of the whole show.
Black Clover is actually underrated.
Half another episode is wasted on hyping up an invading force as the strongest wizards of an enemy kingdom. That means they're gonna be very hard to defeat, right? Well, it's not, because they defeat them without trying much, and another half an episode is wasted on the girls feeling horny and fighting amongst them for who gets to suck the D of the generic main characters. And since it was guys fighting only guys in the battle, that means women exist only as trophies in this arc.
Black Clover is actually underrated.
And instead of giving some depth to the male characters, they throw in homo lust for attracting the fujoshis.
Black Clover is actually underrated.
Then there is a troll, where the obvious traitor amongst the captains manages to prove he's innocent. What a twist! Too bad it's actually him all along, and thus they undo the first twist with a second twist and leave it as predictable as it was all along. Therefore, the traitor reveal is horseshit both times.
Black Clover is actually underrated.
And then it's revealed the strongest wizards they were hyping you all this time are not the strongest, as they get nerfed in favor of more bad guys getting ready to attack. And that is what the King of Shonen is all about.
Black Clover is actually underrated.
Finally, the King of Shonen Anime decides to give us some compelling drama. The screaming banshee protagonist gets his hands cursed and cannot use them anymore. There is no cure they can use to take away the curse either. It looks like he will never use his arms again. It's a very good idea, stolen by a much better but still awful series. Everyone is emotionally devastated. They separate in various teams looking for a solution, and it seems like they will all get character development and new powers thanks to these missions. Such as training to use your legs instead of your arms, which is another good idea, stolen by a much better but still awful series. How does the show treat this most interesting conflict? By spending the next 3 episodes on a side character who loves being naked in front of underage girls and gets constantly beaten up for being considered a sex-offending pervert. Because that's what you can expect from the King of Shonen to do with its drama. Eventually they find a powerful witch that has the ability to take away the curse, thus rendering pointless any attempt at character development, which is a stupid cop-out stolen from an awful series. But wait, the witch refuses to heal his arms, and there is no way to defeat her in battle or persuade her to help. Looks like he will not be back to normal after all. Just kidding! Bad guys conveniently attack at that exact moment, and he gets healed so he can help out in defeating them. It's almost as if everything plays out in the most convenient way, so he will always come out a winner no matter what happens, which is a stupid cop-out stolen from an awful series. And then he goes on to fight well-written villains, and by well-written I mean one-dimensional evil rapists who molest women with tentacles. All thought-provoking series should include one-dimensional evil rapists, since that is what makes modern anime so good and retro anime so awful. And then you can throw in some subversion as well, since the girls are not thanking your protagonist for saving them, but instead hate him for being born a man. A very powerful political statement every well-written show should include if it wants to be appreciated for its deep themes. So the heroes are fighting these bad guys for a few episodes, and then they make it seem like a lot of them are going to die because they are really dangerous and evil. Then none of them die, and they even become friends because it was all a misunderstanding. They were only being manipulated by evil, so in an instant they get rewritten into angelically good people, even if that completely contradicts their personality thus far. There is a third villain who doesn't become good, yet he becomes super powerful and defeats everyone, thus normally this is where the show would end. But since it's a bottom-of-the-barrel shonen, the hero gets a power-up exactly when he needs one. And it's a complete rip-off from Naruto's Nine Tails. Since why bother having your own identity when you can simply steal ideas from other shonen? Then the two of them have a fight, and it looks like complete dog shit. Black Clover is so artistically bankrupt, it even copied the art style of Naruto vs. Pain. The Clover retards were hyping it nonetheless because stuff were moving around a lot, and that's supposed to count as Sakuga. Who gives a shit if stuff move a lot when it looks like garbage? So the villain gets defeated, and what did you know? He was also manipulated by evil, and his personality is also rewritten to contradict everything he was up until that point. Then the hero gets possessed by his dark side and turns against his own friends, killing them one by one. Man, shit got real! He will now have to deal with the negative consequences of abusing his power. Or one of his friends will use his Nakama power to get a power-up out of nowhere and time reset everything so nobody's dead and the hero is back to normal. Happy ending, all the bad guys become good guys, nobody got hurt, nothing matters. And that's how the king of shonen anime once again destroys any sense of consequence and drama. Ain't modern anime wonderful? Black Clover, the king of shonen anime, teaches us a very important lesson in this episode. No matter how many power-ups you get, no matter how many battles you win, and how many villains you prevent from destroying the world, you must never forget who you are. Which is why you need to constantly repeat the exact same one joke over and over again, so nothing will ever change no matter what happens. Did your friends become different people because of permanent injuries? Heal your supposed permanent injuries and joke about it so everything can go back to square one. Consequences. Did your friends become different people because of permanent injuries? Heal your supposed permanent injuries and joke about it so everything can go back to square one. Consequences. Did your friends become different people because of permanent injuries? Heal your supposed permanent injuries and joke about it so everything can go back to square one. Consequences. And yes, Black Clover repeated the exact same joke 3 times in the same episode, with no plot relevance or even purpose, because that is the very important lesson Black Clover teaches us. When you are nothing special and everyone calls you the king of shonen anime, why bother changing anything?
Best of the year!
The plot was constantly being interrupted by worthless fillers, and when it wasn't, there was still lots of soft porn scenes, where they were just having fun at a festival or were looking at naked women in the hot springs.
This is why you should be on Black Clover.
They had this 30-episode tournament arc, where nothing of substance was going on in it. It was just an excuse to introduce 100 side characters who don't matter in the long run, and they had these team battles where they were supposed to be using tactics, although it was always coming down to the Huck's powers of a single character.
Black Clover, baby, and I'm expecting the anime to pick up as well.
There were no stakes whatsoever since there was nothing dangerous in those battles. The only thing everybody cared about was the last fight, and only because it had pretty colors. Beyond that, it was just Yuno being overpowered as always, and Asta being very jealous as always.
Black Clover greatness!
It was something we already know since episode 1, as well as something they still didn't elaborate on why they are still rivals. So basically it was 30 episodes of complete nothing, where the plot went nowhere and nothing new was revealed.
If Black Clover was on a, let's just say on a 7 or an 8, it definitely bumped up to an 8 or a 9.
This finally changed with this episode because the second traitor was revealed and he killed the Wizard King. And he did it through cunningness, not broken powers, by abusing the good nature of Julius.
Bro, why it had to be him? Why Julius?
This, I will admit, was one of the very few points in this completely worthless fighting shonen that was worth your time. At the same time, it was a plot hole, because Julius had an assistant who can read people's minds. He could have checked out everyone's minds whenever he felt like it, and he would have found him.
It's definitely lit. to say the least. And yes, pun intended with that one.
This death was completely unnecessary, and so was the reveal of who was the traitor all along, which by the way was the guy everybody suspected all along, so it wasn't even a big twist. Thus, once again, Black Clover proves to be a complete waste of your time, since even its best moments are filled with lazy writing. Only complete idiots will like it when there are so many better things out there.
Julius!
The only memorable thing about this episode was the mistake everyone made about Yuno. I am not talking about the episode itself, but rather about the meta of the episode. If you read the Reddit comments, you will find hundreds of people who assumed Yuno was an elf all along, when in reality he's just possessed by the soul of an elf. And this is not a minor oversight, it's actually a big deal, because all those hundreds of people now talk as if it was all foreshadowed or some shit. Oh, now it all makes sense. That's why Yuno was so strong. He was an elf all along. The mangaka sure knows what he's doing. No, he doesn't. He makes up shit as he goes along, like all of them do. If it makes sense for Yuno to be an elf because he has the 4-leaf clover, why not Asta as well for having the 5th-leaf clover? And if they are both so obviously overpowered because they were giving such powerful grimoires, why are the bad guys attacking them regardless? Why do they treat Asta as an underdog when they know he's more powerful than even Yuno? Nothing makes sense and nothing is foreshadowed. It's just bullshit the mangaka makes as he goes along, and delusional fanboys who make up excuses for why everything he does is well written and foreshadowed. And it only took 90 episodes for Black Clover to get good. Anyone who didn't give this masterpiece a chance and gave up on it before watching only 90 episodes is an idiot. Just like I stated in the previous video, there was nothing going on for a long time, since it was once again nobody's fighting nobody's in battles that had no impact on the plot, and were always ending with willpower and the power of friendship. This changed around this time because the true mastermind behind the conflict appeared. So far the situation was grey. The humans were fighting the elves, and neither side was outright evil. It was a war caused seemingly by a few bad apples on both sides. But this was no longer the case when a devil appeared and began laughing about how everything was his plan. So much for the grey conflict, it was now just a generic one-dimensional ugly bad guy who was laughing like an idiot and even outright called everyone a fool for falling for it, just to make it even easier for the audience to hate him. And it didn't even stop there. The devil didn't simply manipulate their desires and negative emotions. On top of that, he was also brainwashing them onto becoming mindless puppets. It's one thing to trick people into doing your bidding, and a whole other to take away their free will. The former takes effort and is smart, the latter is lazy and contrived. And thus, once again, the king of shonen anime proved how well written it is by taking a grey conflict and simplifying it to a one-dimensional evil bad guy who doesn't have to use any tactics for fooling his enemies, because he can just brainwash them, versus a bunch of one-dimensional shonen good guys who are constantly yelling about friendship and juvenile ideals. And before any of you say that Black Clover was always a juvenile show for kids and not a grey seinen, I will remind you how the fans were calling this arc a masterpiece for having a grey conflict where the bad guys were not that bad and the good guys were not that good. It's mature and so much better than Gay Foot. And as soon as the devil appears, they completely forget everything they were hyping for months and went back into being hyped about broken power levels and one-dimensional teenagers yelling about their emotions like madmen. And that is what you can expect from the fans of the king of shonen anime. My god, so many things have happened since the beginning of the show. It's no longer the same piece of crap everyone was making fun of. There is a super powerful devil that controls everyone from the shadows now. This changed everything. Until he was beaten in the same arc, he was introduced, and everything went back to how it was before. He couldn't stay around, he would change the down-to-death shonen formula the show is defined by. But as I said, everything is now different. Most of the good guys are now possessed by spirits who want to wipe out humanity. This changed everything! Until the spirits went away in the same arc they were introduced, and everything went back to how it was before. They couldn't stay around, the good guys had to stop trying to murder each other and go back to repeating the exact same one-liner that defines their one-dimensional personality. But as I said, everything is now different. They summoned the first Wizard King who has very powerful magic and can turn the tides in any battle. This changed everything! Until his magic faded and he went away in the same arc he was introduced, and everything went back to how it was before. He couldn't stay around, for he was too powerful and would make every battle too easy. But as I said, everything is now different. The traitor who killed the Wizard King has been revealed, and now the others treat him differently because of what he did. This changed everything! Until they give him a hug and forgive him for all his crimes, and everything went back to how it was before. He had to stay around, because he was there since the beginning, and without him Yuno would become a captain, and we can't have that. But as I said, everything is now different. The leader of the bad guys is finally dead. This changed everything! Until they resurrect him, and everything went back to how it was before. He had to stay around because he was there since the beginning and was selling a lot of toys. But as I said, everything is now different. The current Wizard King is dead and the kingdom is now defenseless. This changed everything! Until time travel was used so he can be alive again, and everything went back to how it was before. He had to stay around because he was there since the beginning and was selling a lot of toys. But he also had to be nerfed, for he was too powerful and would make every battle too easy. But as I said, everything is now different. The protagonist saved the kingdom by defeating the devil and is no longer a peasant boy everyone makes fun of. He's now a great hero! This changed everything! Until the royal family still treats him like shit because they want to blame someone, and everything went back to how it was before. He's supposed to be a victimized underdog no matter what he achieves, therefore he must never be rewarded until the ending of the series. But as I said, everything is now different. The capital is in ruins and all its enemies have been defeated. This changed everything! Until we are told more kingdoms are about to invade, the capital is repaired, everyone is alive, doesn't mind all that just happened, and everything went back to how it was before. My god, so much development and change. Black Clover is no longer a generic shonen, since it has changed completely compared to how it began as. Just like pretty much any popular shonen, the protagonist has hidden demonic powers and suffers from protection syndrome, which make him look like a badass. Man, I wish I had demonic powers and could save chicks all the time, that's so cool! Just like pretty much any popular shonen, the adults with authority never trust him and never believe him, which make him look like an anti-hero who doesn't follow the law, but wants to help people regardless. Man, I wish I was a vigilante who could break the law whenever I feel like it and still be considered a hero. Just like pretty much any popular shonen, those with authority treat him like trash, so he will always be victimized and never be rewarded, and for coming off as an underdog, even if he has proven to be super powerful a dozen times. Man, this excuse is why nobody understands me every time I try to do something and the adults don't reward me. It's not because I'm not as talented as I think I am, it's because the adults don't get how awesome I am. Just like pretty much any popular shonen, the good guys are misfits who show no respect for authority and even call themselves rebels, so they can do whatever they like whenever they feel like it and still come off as cool and heroic. Man, I wish I was part of a group of troublemakers who never have to show respect to authorities. I'm too cool for school, dude! Just like pretty much any popular shonen, every time the authorities try to hold them back, they bring up their emotions and their ideals and their destiny as an excuse for why they are above the law. In this case, it's anti-magic that cancels every effect. Yeah, dude, I reject your reality and substitute my own. Just like pretty much any popular shonen, nobody ever gets punished no matter how disrespectful he is to the authorities. This doesn't make sense within the context of the story, since the trial was made so someone can take the blame for all this mess, but now nobody will, and thus the population will lose trust in the establishment the good guys are supposed to protect. Whatever, dude, I can do whatever I like and never be punished for it because I'm cool. Just like pretty much any popular shonen, the moral of the day is never about taking responsibility for your actions, it's about trusting your friends. Yeah, dude, fuck the lie, it's all about being cool and having friends. Just like pretty much any popular shonen, it's never about being a mature adult. It's all about being an irresponsible child who thinks he can always do whatever he likes without ever getting punished for it. Yeah, dude, I don't want to grow up. I want to be mature and always get away with it. Black Clover greatness!
Finally here, the time skip.
The king of shonen anime is great once again for the same reason Boruto is great again. It's not filler anymore. That's the only thing you need for calling something the king of shonen anime. Not being filler, but it's not like those year-long fillers weren't important. They were vital for showing us the training everybody was doing for getting a power-up. So vital, nobody was watching them because they didn't matter, since they just wanted to see some damn power-ups, goddammit.
Noel with the bust, Asta with the buff.
Not to mention all the improvements that came along with the power-up. Asta, who is still yelling like an idiot who wants to help his friends who are still one-dimensional and do nothing besides repeating the single gimmick that defines them every 10 seconds. And the villains who are still one-dimensional sadists who love to torture innocent people. So many improvements thanks to the power-up.
You wanted time skip, baby? You want a new Asta? Radical Super Saiyan 3 looking transformation for Yuno.
Those fillers really paid off, and so did the power-up, which will be rendered pointless very fast, because the new bad guys are gonna wipe the floor with them anyways, thus being in need for another power-up that will be gained in a fast and cheap way. And that's why Black Clover is the king of shonen anime!
I'm so hyped right now. Yo! Okay, people, put the napkins down. Fan service, straight up, unapologetic fan service. Put the napkins down for a minute.
In this brand new and exciting episode of The King of Shonen Anime, we get a very long bath scene where the girls are doing nothing besides talking about their boobs and how much they want to bang Asta.
Loro Pachika asking me Mosa if she could squeeze on her, and I really rock with the way Tabata tells the story, man.
Nothing spells quality writing more than objectifying women who exist as nothing more than fap material, as well as harem fodder for the protagonist.
Fam! Well, it felt like fairy tale in this bitch for a minute. I'm not gonna lie, I felt like I was reading fairy tale.
Meanwhile, the protagonist is having a silly fight with one of his teammates over food.
Etchy scenes, but I ain't too mad at them, I'm not gonna lie. Loro Pachika!
Because what a better way to follow the episode where everyone is showing off how much more mature they have become than by still showing how immature they are and how there are no consequences to everything that is going on.
It's hard for me to ship anybody but Mimosa with Asta. Mimosa for life!
And the episode ends with Yuno finding out he was special all along and not the underdog who got where he is with hard work and sheer will.
What did he think about that bath scene? I'm not gonna lie, I liked it.
That is how the King of Shonen proves to be better than all other shonen.
Black Clover greatness!
By reusing the same shit, where the main character begins as a victimized underdog and eventually becomes a privileged overlord.
And remember the golden rule!
Make sure to get yourself a box of tissues.
Seeing all the unfair criticism Black Clover is getting these days, I decided to make a video where I provide you with 10 objective reasons for why it's amazing and why anyone who criticizes it is being unfair. Reason number 1, it's still ongoing. This alone proves the haters wrong. Any show that is still airing is amazing. It becomes awful only when it's about to be over. Reason number 2, Fairy Tail ended. The anime is still airing and there is an ongoing sequel, but those don't matter because Fairy Tail was amazing while it was still ongoing and somehow became awful when the manga ended. Black Clover came to fill the void left behind by that amazing show that somehow became awful as soon as it ended. Black Clover is the new Fairy Tail and is thus amazing for as long as it's ongoing. Reason number 3, member berries. Although Black Clover does nothing out of the ordinary, it's doing a great job at stealing ideas from other shonen. Everything in it is literally things you already watched in previous shows that have ended and are thus awful. Black Clover hits you right in the feels by plagiarizing the exact same things you like so much. And because it hasn't ended yet, nobody can say it's shamelessly stealing other people's ideas. Reason number 4, popularity. If Black Clover was a bad show, it wouldn't be as popular as it is now. It's clearly doing a lot of things right, such as being the replacement of Fairy Tail, reusing ideas from other shonen, and most importantly, still being ongoing. Reason number 5, because I am watching it. If it wasn't amazing, I wouldn't be watching it, because obviously people watch only things they like a lot. In fact, all you who watch this video, you also love Black Clover. I mean, why would you be watching it if you didn't think it's amazing, Reason number 6, money. Black Clover gives me a lot of views and makes me a lot of money because I'm saying it's amazing. If I wasn't saying it's amazing and I wasn't overanalyzing every chapter, I wouldn't be making easy money because nobody would be watching my videos for negativity. That's a very good reason for why Black Clover is amazing. Reason number 7. It becomes really good after 200 chapters. The haters are not giving Black Clover the chance to prove itself. Most of them are too impatient and drop it after 100 chapters. This is a mistake because it gets really good after only 200 chapters. Nobody's allowed to say it's bad without first having the patience to tolerate the first 200 average chapters. And once he reads 200, he's still not allowed to say it's bad, because if he didn't like it, he wouldn't be reading 200 chapters. Thus, Black Clover is amazing no matter what you do. Reason number 8. Different tastes. People like different things. Thus, when I say Black Clover is amazing, I am right, because there is no objectivity, and whatever counts as a quality shonen can be interpreted however the fuck you want to. Thus, if you disagree with me, you can't be right because it's just your opinion, man. Reason number 9. Because none of you have made a better manga. Do you know how hard it is to draw a chapter every week? It takes a lot of time and talent. Thus, Black Clover is amazing because none of us can make something more amazing. And reason number 10. Because all negative opinions can be silenced. No matter what the haters say, we can flag them, threaten them, and then destroy them by photoshopping evidence. Only those who like Black Clover are allowed to talk about it. And when you allow only positive opinions about the show, it's evidence of how amazing it is. Because it hasn't ended yet.